Hi, I'm Cameron, and I don't just read comics, I love them. Today, I'm reporting live to you at 6:41 a.m. because it's Wednesday, the December 15th, 2021. Why am I saying the date, and why am I saying it so early? Because on today's Hawkeye review, I got up and I watched the episode early because I did not want the internet to spoil it for me. And boy, am I glad I did get up early to watch that. Um, so let's just dive into it as we do the rest of these reviews. The first, as we dive through, there was a major emphasis on Yelena in this episode, which was to be expected. You can look at the IMDb page of the series and see that she's going to be in 4 episodes. So the episode opened up with Yelena and figuring out pre and post blip dusting, whatever you want to call it, what she was doing. So that was an interesting piece because we know what happens when she ends the scene saying that she needs to go tell Natasha that she's okay. We know what happens after that. At least if you've seen Black Widow. So if you haven't seen Black Widow, go watch it. Now the next scene I wrote down about was Yelena and Kate's interaction. When Kate goes back to her apartment and Yelena is there waiting. I thought it's really interesting to see, we know Yelena in context to Black Widow. We know Kate in context to Hawkeye. But to see these two characters interacting outside of their mainstay MCU counterparts, to see two fresh MCU members and who we know are going to be heroes or not, to see two fresh heroes interacting with one another, I thought was really interesting and good. And I don't know why, but I just really loved that scene. And I also both love those characters. I think they were both they are two highlights of their shows and movies for me. So watching that was great. It just felt very distinct, and I thought especially where Yelena was saying Rudolph was so weird, like talking about Christmas, and I was like, oh, that's great. I just loved it. I loved it. The next thing, I love that Clint had nowhere to go. He calls off their partnership at the end of, at the end of the last episode. And so now he kind of finds himself without anywhere to be. And so he ends up back with Grills, who is the cosplayer who he fought. And I love that. Like, the saga of the cosplayers keeps going. And so you guys saw that and you knew that I was into that. So let me just reiterate. I was really into that. So yeah, I just... Also, we saw that the new costumes are going to be alluded to, which is very much, it's what I've been waiting for. I think the idea that I'm getting that new costumes are going to be shown at the end of all of these episodes is pretty much on brand. Like, I think about the last scene of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 5, was the new Falcon suit. So I think they're trying to drop that bombshell next week. And that's okay, because, I don't know, they already kind of spoiled it with the images. But, anyways, I'm excited. It's been alluded to. We all know what it looks like. It's going to be awesome. There's also a really rewarding scene where Kate, Clint gives her his number and he says, don't call me unless it's an emergency. And then she calls him a million times over and he obviously doesn't answer. So I really liked that scene because Kate, that's what we wanted. And you know what? I realize hindsight, we all should have known that was going to happen because we know these characters. At least we can almost kind of predict their trajectory. So of course he's gonna freaking blow up his phone with a million silly questions. And I just really like that scene because I like Kate. I like the overbearingness of Kate. I just thought it was so specific and it was such a good moment, and it was kind of just cute and fun, which I like. I want cute and fun moments. Okay, this is where we start to get into some of the allusions that are revealed in this episode. And obviously, if you can't tell already, I'm going to spoil. So if you don't want to know, don't. You've been warned right now. Clint says it's only a matter of time before the big guy gets involved. Anyways, here's a speculation that I had. I'm thinking that Swordsman is going to be recruited by Valentina Allegra and Madam Hydra. Because if they're going for like a Dark Avengers Thunderbolts kind of thing, I think it'd be really easy to dress him up as Hawkeye. I think they're leaning Dark Avengers for a PR perspective, but I'm thinking like what they're gonna do with Hawkeye is really interesting. And Swordsman, I thought, could be like they could just dress him up in the old Ronin costume and say he's Ronin. And if they're already kind of gathering recruits, they could make U.S. Agent, Captain America. We have Black Widow as Yelena Belova. Then we have what's his face, Swordsman. I think of him as Bullseye, but oh man. Anyways. I think I'm waiting for us to see Valentina Allegra, aka Madam Hydra. Also, so glad. I don't think I've said it on here. Maybe I said it somewhere else. I'm so freaking excited for Madam Hydra. That's a villain I've been waiting for in this whole universe because I just think she's so neat. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus is so dreamy. Anyways, that's a personal note. Okay, we had the scene with the cool fight sequence in the used car lot. That was cool. We still don't know the mystery of the watch, though. We saw Echo. That was a good scene, and I thought that was I think Clint. It's so interesting to see him put the Ronin uniform back on because I don't think he wants to do it. I think that but he feels as though he has to. And it was a really interesting phone call between him and his wife because she almost kind of condoned it. So it makes me hope that she knows what her husband was up to while they were gone. I think they've worked through that, but him putting it back on and her kind of condoning the call, she trusts his judgment, which I think was a great little moment between them. But it's like, why should you trust his judgment? Based on previous. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. That's where I'm at with it. Oh man. And then obviously we get into the big one, the last clip of the episode. Yelena texts Kate of who hired her mother and who her mother's with, and it is Vince D'Onofrio, the Kingpin. It's huge. This is huge. This is the first time the Netflix universe has crossed over into the MCU. Now, that's not to say that the MCU has not been alive in the Netflix universe, but they were never under the same studio. We never got... The way I think about it is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So in the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we had Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson show up in that first episode. We had Coulson. We had those characters show up. And so we instantly knew those universes were in the same place. We never had that mutual crossover back. So that being the case, this is the first time. And I think we all know it's safe to say it's not going to be an X-Men Fox thing where, we got teased Evan Peters Quicksilver and then it was like his name was Ralph Boner, which was the worst thing ever. No, this is very much Hawkeye isn't that show, number one. And number two is these are street level heroes, and it's not crazy to think they could have totally just been going on with their lives in the same, exactly like they were. They could, while the Avengers are doing their thing, Daredevil and all that universe is just fighting off the Hand and the ninjas and Elektra and da-da-da. So I think the potential within this is huge. There's a couple things I want to say. It's a big deal. And also, fun fact, I'm just a spoiler from my life, what's been going on. I've been rewatching Daredevil Season 1 based on something like this. So you can expect a Daredevil Season 1 video coming up soon. I think I don't want to overpromise and think about, because what do I know anyways? We don't know what this means for the entire universe. Whether or not everyone from Netflix is going to cross over, but I think we can definitely say that two properties that will cross over, their two most successful ones, Punisher, John Bernthal's Punisher, that's just too easy not to. And then obviously now Charlie Cox's Daredevil. And there's some leaked photos of Charlie Cox Daredevil in Spider-Man No Way Home that have been flagged on the internet for potentially spoiling. And so seeing this, seeing Kingpin, and then to potentially see the bigger reveal would be Charlie Cox's Daredevil in Spider-Man No Way Home, which I think is going to happen now. I think that is looking more and more real. So, wow, what a big day. Man, it is just... What if we get Bullseye back? I'm getting emotional because Daredevil... Okay, so I've said The Thing. I think that my top 2 Marvel characters are The Thing and Daredevil because they're just so freaking cool, and the potential for all of it. And to see Charlie Cox along the rest of the Avengers will be the most cool thing ever. But to see... I didn't love Vince D'Onofrio's Kingpin. He wasn't my favorite actor to play that character. But now rewatching, I'm like, oh yeah, no, he's perfect. So I don't know what I was on, but it was... Wow. What an episode. What a day. And now I got to rate it. Okay, when it comes to Disney Plus shows and the stakes that I think they should be placing, this is one. I think the way that this show has worked out has been exactly what I needed from these Disney Plus shows, because I need them to affect the larger universe. They don't need to put like huge dents in what's going on, but I need something to happen. So we had an internet-breaking moment in WandaVision through Ralph Boner, Quicksilver, and that was major. So now, but, they kind of just washed that all away, so it just didn't even matter. We didn't have quite so many moments like that in Loki, or I just need one big break-the-internet moment from these Marvel Universe shows, the Disney Plus shows. Otherwise, I find them to be kind of inconsequential. What they just gave us was not inconsequential. It was one of the biggest setups, biggest announcements in the entire MCU. The universe is not going to be the same after something like this show happened. And so it's a big deal, and we should really be happy. And this is what I'm looking for in a show. So this episode in particular, 5 out of 5 stars. Absolutely great. Great character moments, a good little action scene, and then the universe is growing, and that's huge. So there you go. My name's Cameron. I don't just read comics. I love them. Make sure to clobber those like and subscribe buttons, and maybe check out my podcast, Cameron Reads Comics. See you next time.